A woman driving a rainy road stops by the road to shoot a donkey dead. The scene then shifts to David, who learns that his wife has been having an affair with another man. With their separation, David is escorted to a hotel by two men, where they discuss his lack of emotional outbursts after experiencing a breakup. A woman asks him a set of questions regarding his previous relationships and his sexual preference, but he cannot opt for a bisexual option, being forced to choose heterosexual. He asks about his brother, who had previously stayed at the hotel, but the receptionist cannot remember him. She tells him a set of rules to follow and gives him a room. The staff takes away all of David's possessions and only allows him the garments provided by the hotel, having him thus stripped naked. He enters his room in his underwear and goes through the items given to him by the hotel, which also include a tranquilizer gun. Staring out of the window, he glimpses the unconscious bodies of captured loners, who are single people who live in the forest. He's woken up by a knock from the hotel manager, who reveals that single people have 45 days to find a partner, or they will be transformed into an animal of their choice. David chooses to be a lobster since they live for a century, and also because he enjoys the sea. The dog accompanying David is revealed to be his brother Bob. They tie one of his hands behind his back with a handcuff and leave. In the morning, David is called by an alarm for breakfast and sees a group of other loners. He glances at the couple's table, where he is not allowed. John, a man with a limp, introduces himself, and Robert, a man with a lisp, and the trio becomes acquaintances. At a seminar, John describes how his mother, who was abandoned by his father, got turned into a wolf, and when he tried to enter her zoo enclosure to hug her, he was attacked by other wolves. His wife, who also had a limp, died 6 years ago. Another guest describes her defining characteristic. Guests are fixated on finding a mate with whom they share these characteristics, such as minor ailments, which they believe to be the key to compatibility. At a dance party, the trio tries to link up with women of their choosing, but discovers that they are incompatible with them. An alarm blares and the residents prepare for the hunt. As they are ushered into a bus, residents can extend their deadline by hunting and tranquilizing the loners who live in the forest, earning them 1 day per person. On the way, John complains about the disadvantage of his limp, and David tells him to use the element of surprise. The hunt begins, and each resident either shoots or knocks down loners. David is unable to capture a loner. The following day, the residents are taken to watch propaganda, extolling the advantages of partnership, where a man eating alone chokes on his food. When he eats with a woman, the woman helps him push the food out. Though masturbation is banned at the hotel, stimulation by the hotel maid is mandatory. Robert is made to place his hand in a toaster for breaking this rule. At night while eating dinner, David tells John that he saw a woman with a limp among new guests, but he tells him that it's just a sprain and she'll heal in a week. An alarm calls them to hunt, and on the way, a woman who likes butter biscuits tries to talk with David. Though he's uninterested, she first offers him butter biscuits for Bob, then offers David sexual favors which he declines. She tells him that if she fails to find a mate, she will kill herself by jumping from a hotel window. The trio discusses what animal they will become should they fail. Robert wants to be a parrot, but John reminds him that he will carry his speech impediment even as a parrot, and David will be eaten as seafood. Robert, irritated, starts attacking John, but they're separated by David. John, desperate to find a woman, wins the affection of a woman with constant nosebleeds by purposely smashing his nose in secret. He goes and hugs David before they move to a larger room in the couples section to begin a month-long trial partnership. The manager tells them that, should they break into arguments, they will be assigned children. David tries to court a woman with beautiful hair, who is on her last day as a human, but his attempt fails because the woman is terrified of men getting bald. She's taken for a final meeting where she's advised what she can do as an animal. A friend offers to read her a goodbye letter, but the woman slaps her and asks to be allowed to watch a film before she's turned into a horse. David receives a call from the biscuit-loving woman, but ignores her. While playing golf, he decides to court a cruel woman who has tranquilized more loners than anyone else, but he's distracted by the screams of the biscuit-loving woman, who has injured herself by jumping from a first-floor window. David pretends to enjoy the woman's suffering to gain the heartless woman's interest, and she promises to talk with him later. He later joins her in a hot tub, where the woman chokes on an olive, but David does nothing, and her choking is revealed to be a ruse. Noticing that he makes no attempt to help her, she decides that they are a match. The two are then shifted to the double room in the couple's suite. Before they go to sleep, the woman provides her with the same stimulation as the maids. John appears with his new daughter Elizabeth, but David kicks her when she comes to greet him, to show his heartlessness. Throughout their intercourses, she remains detached. David is woken up one morning, and the woman tells him that she has killed his brother. Though he tries to pretend he doesn't care, the woman insists on the details of the deed. and David notices her bloodied leg. He goes to the restroom where Bob lies sprawled on the floor, and though he tries to hold back his tears, he is caught mourning. She slaps him and tells him that their relationship is a lie, and she will drag him to the hotel manager to have him punished and turned into the animal that no one wants to be. He attacks her in the corridor and escapes, and while the woman pursues, she's unable to find him. A sympathetic maid hides him in a room and guides the woman in the wrong direction, allowing David to tranquilize her from behind. Though he wants to kill her, he picks her up with the help of the maid and transforms her into an unspecified animal. He tranquilizes the maid to remove suspicion from her. David escapes the hotel into the woods. All alone, he sleeps beneath a tree. In the morning, he's taken by the loners to their group, suspecting him to be a doctor. Though he's not, they welcome him. He's greeted by the loner leader, who tells him that, unlike the hotel, the loners forbid any kind of romance, which is punishable by mutilation, and loners dance alone. He meets a man whose lips were slashed for kissing a woman, while the loner leader trains them to hide from the hunters. A woman who is also short-sighted like David spies him and begins to fantasize about him. A man gets caught in a bear trap, and the leader tells him to either free himself and follow them, or get caught by the hunters. The kind maid from earlier goes into the woods to hunt for animals, and David is caught by Robert as a hunter. David tries to appeal to him by calling him his best friend, saying he doesn't even remember John, the limping man. Robert informs him that John is going on the yacht, and might even make it to the city as a couple. He tells David to return to the hotel, but David is used to the freedom of a loner. While he distracts him with talk, the short-sighted woman attacks Robert, allowing David to tranquilize him. She tells David not to tell anyone that she helped him, but can repay the favor by offering her a rabbit to eat. David agrees and takes away Robert's gun and clothes. The maid from earlier gives the leader a gun and keys to the couple's rooms to sabotage the hotel. She also tells the leader that she finds life at the hotel unbearable and wants to join them. The leader tells her that she can join them after this final mission. David manages to capture a rabbit and offers it to the short-sighted woman. They are taken on covert missions to the nearby city with the leader, wearing suits, where their cover requires them to appear as husband and wife, which they secretly enjoy. While watching a woman being interrogated for being alone, David is also apprehended by a security guard, who asks him for his marriage certificate. The short-sighted woman saves him by showing their certificates, and while they're walking out, David learns that she's short-sighted like him. They stay at the leader's father's home, who believes they all work at the same company. David confesses how much he loves his wife and what he would do to keep their relationship strong. While they're returning to the forest, the leader appreciates him for coming up with such excuses. When they return to the forest, the woman and David grow closer together by sharing their weaknesses, and she offers to rub the pain relief balm on his back. The loners launch a raid to sabotage the hotel. The leader assigns each of the loners a room to sabotage, but David asks to be assigned to the yacht. He tranquilizes a group of guards and makes his way to the yacht via a boat. David tells the woman with nosebleeds that John has been faking his, and though he's slapped by the woman, he continues talking. Meanwhile, the leader holds the hotel manager and her husband at gunpoint. She asks the husband how much he loves his wife, and he confesses to loving her a lot. She offers him to either choose his own life or his wife's. The husband chooses his own, and they trick him into shooting his wife to save himself. But the gun is not loaded. They leave the couple to face each other. While the loners celebrate by dancing, the leader confronts David for not having dug his grave yet. As David grows infatuated with the short-sighted woman, he becomes jealous when another man offers her a rabbit, and tells her to no longer accept rabbits from other people, and promises to hunt more next time. He and the short-sighted woman secretly dance together, in violation of the loner's code, and kiss. They begin a secret relationship and develop a gestural language they use to communicate. When they return to their covert mission to the city, they practice intimacy publicly under the guise of playing a part, until the leader breaks them apart. They eventually decide to run away under the cover of the hunt and live their lives in the city. The leader and the maid eventually discover David's journal, and discover his plan to escape with the short-sighted woman. The leader takes David aside to make him dig his grave, lie down in it, and cover himself with dirt. The leader and the maid secretly take the woman to the city to have an operation to cure her short-sightedness. She is nervous throughout the ordeal, and wants to return later with David accompanying, but the leader insists that it's fine. The surgery instead blinds her. The woman attempts to stab the leader and accuses them of wrongfully blinding her, but the leader uses the maid as a human shield. She stabs the maid to death, and the leader pretends to die alongside her, but when she puts the knife down, the leader gets up again and offers to escort her back to their hideout safely. David meets her later, and she pretends to see. When he offers her a flashlight, she thinks it's a rabbit. She eventually tells him that she was blinded by the leader. David tells her that they will find a way, but try as he might to find something else that they have in common, to no avail. He tries to keep her occupied with games and activities, but eventually becomes dissatisfied with the whole ordeal. The following morning, the woman accuses David of not bringing her any rabbit to eat, and David reveals to her a plan of his in code to comfort her. David knocks the leader unconscious, binds her, and leaves her tied up in an open grave to be eaten alive by wild dogs. He and the blind woman dress in their city clothes, and David escorts her safely through the forest, and they try to escape to the city, hand in hand. When the hotel coach passes them by, the two hide off-road. Once it passes, they resume their journey, eventually reach the city, and stop at a restaurant. At the restaurant, David sees every little detail about the woman, including her smile, to commit them to memory, and tells a waiter to provide him with a steak knife and fork. He takes them to the restroom, hesitantly prepares to blind himself with a steak knife, and stuffs his mouth with tissue to stop the noise, as the woman waits outside.